he said that I was nasty and I was a freak and that I got off on nursing my son. And what kind of nasty is just that I would let my baby suck on my titties like that. Like, you know, I must get off on that because, you know, just nasty. I'm a survivor. And when my son was born early, I mean, he was born 6 weeks early. He was a preemie, little tiny thing, only 4.5 pounds. And that was the first time, Mom, this is my baby. And I just wanted to do whatever I could to help him and to give him a good chance and build his immune system. And when the doctors and nurses said, look, you know, you should consider nursing your child. This is the best thing you can do to help his body and his lungs and his immune system develop, I was all for it. It didn't matter how much it hurt. And yes, it did. It hurt. It didn't matter how sore my nipples were, if they cracked. It didn't matter that I had to hand pump a lot of the times. It didn't matter that I spent more time pumping a lot of times than anything because he was in NICU for a while. So I had to pump in and bring the milk to the hospital. None of that mattered to me. What mattered is that my son had the best. And I was going to do everything I can to be a good mom and make sure that he had what he needed. And when I was able to nurse him, it was a lot easier for me to nurse him than to pump. Because pumping took forever. I had a hand pump. I didn't have an electric pump at the house. And I had to pump one side and then I had to pump the other side. And pumping can take me as long as an hour. Where when he nursed and he was right latched on, I mean 15 minutes. And my breast would be empty. And my body was in sync with my baby. And so when my son would cry, my milk would come rushing in. And he would say, you're fucking lying. Now you're trying to tell me that your milk came in like your body knows that he hungry? Like, give me a fucking break. You're a fucking liar. You just want to pull your titty out. And I'm like, first of all, I developed this really great trick. And I had a carrier, a front carrier, so my son would be facing my chest and carry this way, and I could put a blanket over the carrier and over my son, so nobody would even know that while my son was on me and I'm walking down the street or wherever I am, my son could nurse, because I could just, you know, I had a nursing bra, I could just pull it and nobody can see. I mean, somebody would have to come, lift the blanket up, look under the carrier and go, oh my gosh, that girl is nursing the baby. It wasn't like that. I mean, we're in New York, we was in Brooklyn, and nobody was stupid enough to walk up on me and touch me or my son. You know, like, come on now. Like, that wasn't going to happen. So people wouldn't know I'm nursing. The only person would know would be me and him. And of course he know, because he was always there, always watching, always want to make sure he know what's going on. And he didn't like that. And, you know, when I nursed, I didn't want anybody else touching my breasts. My breasts hurt. They were sore. I mean, I'm dealing with this. And so he felt a sense of jealousy too. Like, now this baby is sucking on your titties and I can't suck on your titties, and you talking about cause you trying to do the best for him, but yeah, whatever. And then, you know, if you do nurse, if you know that feeling like when you're about to feel like you explode because you didn't nurse for a while and how it hurts so bad, and I'm like trying to hand express or whatever for some reason, because if there's any reason I couldn't get my baby, like, you know, he couldn't understand that. And one time he took my son and was just like, I'm bringing him around my family. I could bring him around my family. He could be around my family. And I was like, well, don't be going long because, you know, I have to nurse him. So you need to make sure you bring him back in time so that he can eat. No, he goes and brings him to his cousin's house. He's not even with my son. He just leaves the baby. And then I'm like calling him. He's not answering his phone, anything. He brings my son home like 7 hours later. And I'm like, what did he eat? Don't worry about it. My cousin had some formula. We gave him formula. I mean, he a baby. My son was throwing up all night long. He was so sick. And I was like, you can't do that. His system is not... He can't handle the milk. I don't even know what formula you gave him. I don't know what kind of formula it is, what it looked like, nothing like that. My son used to breast milk. If I knew you was going to be going as long as you were, you could have took some of my milk. I have milk in the freezer. You know, you can't do that. And it's like, you think you know everything. You think you know everything. You don't know everything. You know, my cousin been raising babies her whole life. And I was like, I understand that. There's no disrespect to your cousin. But my baby is a newborn. He's a preemie. and he's breastfed. And if your cousin is not used to dealing with a breastfed baby, there's certain things that she just don't understand. But for him, it was like he always had to be right. Always had to be right. Even at the detriment, if it was to put his son or to put me or anybody else in jeopardy, it wouldn't even matter. And all I was trying to do was make sure my baby was fine. And I had to fight him about that. I had to fight him about keeping my baby healthy and about keeping him safe and about building himself up so that he wouldn't be weak. And I had to fight it every day, all the time, all day, every day, to prove to him that what I was trying to do was the best thing for my son. And it was draining. It was draining. But that was my baby. And he was worth the fight and everything that came with it.